right, guys, today I am with Dion Bocos from Bocos Insurance. Dion, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Dion helps a lot of my clients, and he actually helps myself with my properties, and some of them are a little complicated, like this one with some commercial building in Scotts Valley. And he is a wonderful resource, and I'm doing this video to vouch for him, first of all, because I'm one of his clients, and he helps a lot of my clients. We did 50 real estate transactions this year alone in 2025, and you should
impressive.
probably 80% of them.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And thank you for your responsiveness. And something I love about Dion is that he's very responsive. His team is on it, and they take care of people, and they're very good. And I actually had one of my clients a few years ago. They had a 3-through. They got their check pretty fast because Dion stepped in. They already rebuilt their home by now, and they made it into a very cool property now because it's a brand new house. And thanks to Dion, they got the money fast. And you want to make sure you have a very good insurance agent, especially if you're buying a property. You're not buying a bicycle, so you're spending a lot of money. You want to make sure you have the right coverage. So today I'm going to ask Dion a few questions so we can get you ready and set up with a very good high-end professional like Dion.
One of the things that you said comes to mind that people don't think about. When you have a claim, what's the advantage? You get a brand new property back. You get brand new appliances. You get brand new flooring. And it really helps the value of your home. So, there's a good side to it all.
Yeah, no, I agree. There is always a good side. And I remember their home was like high ceilings, and it came out pretty nice. And of course, we don't wish anybody a natural disaster, but they do happen. And Dion, what do you think a current homeowner should do to be proactive, especially now we have all those natural disaster fires and floods, and there's a lot of different natural disaster happening, especially here in California. What a homeowner should do? What's your opinion on that?
So one of the things that a lot of the insurance companies are doing now is they're offering discounts for preparedness. Mow your lawn, cut your trees back, cut your hedges back. If you have a wood fence that touches your house now, maybe replace the portion between the fence, which is 10 feet from the home, and the house itself with something metal that won't burn. And every company I know of now is offering a discount for this. And some of them can be pretty sizable. You could see 20-25% off of the wildfire portion of your premium. You need to check with your agent, check with your company, and say, are there any discounts that have come up? We all get a ton of mail. We probably don't read it. Call the agent. They should know. And I'm seeing this with every company I deal with.
Very nice. Call your agent, not the company. I recommend that you have Dion looking for your best interest, because insurance companies, they have those extremely long contracts. You don't even know what you're signing most of the time. It's good to have somebody on your side that's fighting for you, like Rocky Balboa, and is ready to get back up and boom, go after it. And with that said, also fire-wise, now a lot of neighborhoods are becoming fire-wise, so that helps getting insurance. Talking about that, a lot of neighborhoods. In fact, when we're selling our property in the mountains, I'm encouraging at the open houses to the neighbors to getting all together and get a fireside certificate, counting their hours, making sure they connect with their neighbors, know who they are, they get an exit plan. So you're proactive that way. You get a discount on insurance, you do some yard work, and that's something else that a lot of people are doing in the real estate world. And Dion, quick question for you. What are your thoughts about the future of insurance? What do you think is going to happen? A lot of people are like, I'm going to sell my property because insurance tripled and doubled. And what are your thoughts on all of these insurance?
Well, the insurance market's changing. Here's the problem. The big companies that we have all been using for the last decade, they're really cutting back on what they're doing. But what we're seeing is more boutique companies. Sure, companies that you probably haven't heard the name of before, but there are companies that are smaller. They can move faster. They can adjust their premiums better than the big companies do. And this also allows them to accept homes that maybe the big companies don't want to, because they have the ability to look at, a home on a smaller scale rather than just as a state. So what I have found is, I mean, I'm constantly on the search for these boutique companies, as I'm calling them, trying to find someone who will write insurance. And I've found quite a few. And it's something literally that's changing sometimes weekly. The company that I'm using to insure my home is a prime example. You know, one week they might say, well, we're not taking any homes in your area anymore. We've kind of reached our capacity. And 2, 3 weeks later, they're like, okay, you know, we put together some more funding. We've got some reinsurance going in. Now we're back taking homes in your area. But these, I think, are really what we are seeing now. And the big companies, they're not doing this. The big companies, it's very knee-jerk. They're much slower to react at this point in time. So if you find one of these companies, you know, you need to reach out, call somebody like my office and see, you know, if we have a company that will write the home for you. And these aren't companies that are writing 500,000 policies in Santa Cruz County or Scotts Valley. These are companies that are writing, you know, maybe 300-400 policies because they need to keep their portion of the claim smaller. But as a result, their premiums are smaller. And they're more willing to accept homes that might be in more wooded areas.
Okay.
So this is what we're dealing with at this point.
Do you think every home is insurable?
Every home is insurable, without a doubt. I have never had a home that we couldn't insure.
So every home is insurable. A lot of people, like, they come to open house and tell, oh, I don't think you can get insurance. And it's good to know that every home is insurable.
Never had a home that we couldn't insure.
How are interest rate drops affecting potential buyers that are in the market or investor here in California in 2025?
Well, I think we're certainly, particularly with the smaller companies that we have now started to use, we're finding insurance rates stabilizing, not going up as much as they are maybe with some of the large carriers. And this is allowing the homeowners a better opportunity to buy the homes because the insurance rates aren't what they think they're going to be.
Nice. In fact, we had one recently that was like, oh, this is going to be 8,500. Boom, it was 4,000 instead, which is half of the price. And we're actually closing that transaction next week. And thanks to Dion that stepping in and answering any questions the client has right away.
One of the things, I mean, when it comes to the insurance rates is, you know, you've got to open up a discussion again with somebody like our office or whoever you're using and say, what discounts are out there? Am I getting all the discounts? Because most of the carriers have started just a huge number of discounts and each one might be 1%, 2%, but they might have 20 of them. So you've got to, you know, check out what these are. And maybe you're not going to get them up front, but you find that there are a few things that you can do after the close of escrow, take a few pictures, send it into the company, and now you've cut your rate by 15-20%.
Very good. Those are very good things to know, especially if you're a homeowner. With the natural disasters and all those things that are happening right now in California, are there certain questions that the buyers should be asking when putting an offer on a house or trying to buy a house right now?
Definitely. I mean, again, it's going to vary a little bit from one company to another, one insurance company to another, but you need to ask, what can I do? You know, what can I do to make my home less expensive to insure? And there typically are a lot of things that you can do. Not all of them are just things that you're going to think of on your own. I mean, we're having to change how we look at our homes, and something, let's say like a wood fence or a wood gate that, I mean, let's face it, 99% of the homes have. Switch that over to metal, and all of a sudden you might get a 5% discount on your insurance.
That's a very good thoughts. And what are your thoughts on the new build? Now they're using all those fire-resistant materials. And what is it, a property on McClellan in Felton? That was pretty much a brand new house in the mountains with all like fire-resistant screens and the siding. And those will definitely get a discount because of the materials that they've chosen.
Again, I mean, here's the thing. The buyer has got to point this out and say, make sure I get these discounts.
Oh.
Because even when the insurance company comes out to inspect, they won't add the discounts. You've got to ask for them. You've got to say, what discounts can I get? And am I getting all the discounts? And then, yeah, absolutely. When you look at things like boxed-in eaves, smaller vents going into the attic or the crawl space, they like to see 6 inches off the ground with something that's non-flammable. So, I mean, a lot of homes have a slab foundation, but a lot of homes in the San Lorenzo Valley, that siding comes right down to the dirt.
That's a good point. I see a lot of those.
Right. It's not that hard to cut that siding back a little bit and then maybe put in cinder block there or pour a little cement underneath it. All they need is 6 inches. And that can be a cheap fix and get you another discount.
Nice. What about somebody that's remodeling a house or building a brand new home? What do you recommend they should do? Do you think they should talk with their insurance agent and talk about materials and figure out the discount beforehand proactively? I know the architect or whoever the builder is probably going to have some suggestions, but what do you think? I'm very curious.
I mean, codes today are all about fire safety in this state. Not really going to be an issue. I mean, any new home is going to be much more fire safe, and they don't have a choice. Now, sure, if you're remodeling, you're going to be doing some work on your home. That would probably be a good time to talk to your agent and say, hey, is there anything that I could do while I'm remodeling that might affect my insurance rates? You bet.
Very good. Those are very good thoughts. What first-time home buyer in Santa Cruz should know about deductible, insurance, limits, and all of those things? What do you think?
Limits. I mean, the thing about a limit is it's not about what you bought your house for. I mean, you might buy a home, let's say on West Cliff for $4 million, it's 1,000 square feet. We are only interested in what it costs to rebuild the home.
Oh.
You get to keep the land, and we are truly not interested, not concerned about what you bought the home for. We are interested in what's it going to cost us to rebuild this home next year. What you need to know is that no insurance company guarantees that we will rebuild your home. So be careful about your limits. Make sure that you are being insured for the amount that you think it's going to cost to rebuild. If you look in the news, you'll see a couple of insurance companies have been sued for under-insuring homes, and they feel like it's intentional.
Interesting.
Okay? When it comes to deductibles, I mean, I'm talking about different things that insurance companies have found to keep prices down. And part of what they have done is they've started to create multiple deductibles. So you might have one deductible for a kitchen fire and a different deductible for a wildfire. And I have seen this go from $5,000 for a kitchen fire to $75,000 for a wildfire. Well, let's face it, I mean, in our county, I've lived here 60 years. In our county, we maybe
had 25?
Yeah, that's it. You can tell by the gray beard. But that wildfire deductible, I mean, it could really catch you. And yet, if you came home and your house was gone, would you really be worried if we were about to write you a check for $1 million to rebuild your home, if your deductible was $75,000? Maybe not.
Very good point. Thank you for sharing all of those. On a small multifamily or rental property, what are the common things that are underinsured that you recommend insuring?
What most people don't think about is their loss of rents. I mean, if you've got, let's say you buy a fourplex, I mean, that's very different. The same building, the same square footage for a single family home would be a very different situation for loss of use. That's what you commonly see it as, loss of use or loss of rents. But you really need to be thinking about how long can I live without the loss of rents from this property? Because if you've got 4 units and they're all paying you rent every month, that's a lot of money to lose. And most policies that I've seen, that limit doesn't cover it.
Interesting. So you could get a loss of rent that if one of the units vacates and you have vacancies, you could get rent out of the insurance?
It's more about an insurance claim. If there's a kitchen fire, what happens if there's a kitchen fire in one unit, but the smoke means all 4 people need to leave?
Interesting. And you can get the loss of rent to everybody. I never thought of that.
You bet.
Very good. Some people don't think about that. So I got to start thinking about that actually myself. That's a very good point. Because if you have a home building and one unit gets affected, then everybody does too.
Sure.
Given the hard insurance market we're in, I guess it's hard, it's just a little more expensive, I will say. Where is the hardest place to get insurance now? Do you have a certain areas in Santa Cruz County or certain locations?
Well, kind of like what we talked about earlier. There's no home we can't insure. There is absolutely no home we can't insure. So, I mean, to answer the question directly, there isn't one. We can insure any home. Does it vary in price? You bet. It varies. And, it's hard to say exactly where, but certainly, we look at a number of factors and it can change the premium quite a bit.
What is the most expensive insurance you've wrote?
For a single property.
For a single family home?
I wouldn't say it was a single family home, but the most expensive policy that I have written for a home was $200,000 a year.
Wow, $200,000 a year. How much was the house worth?
See, that's the thing. That house was worth a lot of money. I think they bought it for something like $100 million.
Wow, unbelievable.
It was some ridiculous amount. I mean, truly, when I looked at it, it took me a long time to examine the property, examine the buildings, examine the location, and I was a little surprised that anybody was willing to insure it.
Wow.
They had their own funicular from the road down to the home. I think they said that just that one, like, trolley car that came down from the road to the house, they spent like $1 million on.
Wow, that's unbelievable. What is the less insurance quote you've written? The more affordable one? Just a cabin, I guess, or a studio?
I've been around a long time. I mean, back in the day, 30 years ago, we'd write a policy for a house for $300 a year.
Nice. How do homeowner should update their policy with the current inflation, with the current climate change, and all those new circumstances? For example, inflation now. I'm building a house myself. The bid was $250,000. Now, a year later, because the permit and all that took time, it's doubled. It's like $500,000. So how do people should be prepared for that?
I mean, we always recommend, call your broker, talk to him once a year. I mean, even if it's just over the phone, it takes time, and it's not always a fun thing to do. But at the same time, if you have a loss, it is going to make the difference. And this is when you take a few minutes and say, let's look at my coverage. Let's look at it line by line and make sure you know what you're covered for. Make sure that you know what your deductibles are. Because if you look at some of the companies that we write today, we insure one structure at a time. I mean, imagine if you have a detached garage, you have a carport, you have a tool shed, maybe an ADU. Depending on the company, none of those might be covered. You want to double check. From 2019, let's say 2019, right before the CZU fire, to today, we have more than doubled the amount per square foot that we are insuring homes for in 5 or 6 years. It's a huge difference. And I can tell you, particularly the big box insurance companies are not adjusting for that. They might have changed their rates, their coverage 25% when they should have changed it maybe 200%.
Very good. Good to know. Some valuable information. Are umbrella policies keeping up with today's claim trends?
It's interesting. I mean, you've got to look at this. I know it's not your field, but let's look at autos. The auto limit, lowest limit you used to be able to have is $15,000. I think it was set in the 50s. Here we are 75 years later, and now they've finally realized that's a silly low amount, and we had to adjust it. Claims have gone through the roof. The dollar amounts that we're willing to pay have gone through the roof. Insurance companies are deathly afraid of going to court and what a jury might say. So now they're paying without really a thought to how much they're paying, at least much more so than I saw in the past. So where we would typically have $300,000 for a liability limit on a home, no, that's not enough anymore. And most companies won't go past 500. Some will go to $1 million, but an umbrella is imperative for good overall liability coverage. Here's one thing most people don't know. If you get into a car accident, you can lose your home. Your home insurance will not help you in a car accident. But if you've hurt somebody seriously and they're suing you for $2 million, your auto policy probably doesn't have enough coverage, certainly not without an umbrella. And the first thing they're going to come after is your biggest asset, which is always your home.
Good to know. That's a good question. Do you think roofing upgrade, plumbing upgrade, and defensible space upgrade could help homeowners getting a better insurance?
Yes. Defensible space in particular, you're going to see a lot of companies using third-party vendors, not even their own inspectors, come out and make sure that you have good defensible space. Roof updates. This is an interesting question because nobody knows this, but there are companies out there that will make 100% of your claim actual cash value. That means depreciated. If your roof hasn't been updated in the last 25 years. So imagine you have a small kitchen fire, but your roof is 30 years old, and your company comes in and says, for your kitchen fire, we're not going to pay you the $100,000 that it's going to cost to redo your kitchen. Because your roof is 30 years old, we're going to pay you $20,000. I'm in the middle of a claim right now where the company is depreciating parts of the coverage 80%. 80%. They're paying 20 cents on the dollar of what it would cost to rebuild, even though we have the coverage.
Dion, this is a very important question. On a non-renewal or a steep rate hike, how quick they need to call Dion to take care of them?
Absolutely need to do it before the renewal or non-renewal.
Okay.
So I just had this. I mean, hopefully my client's watching.
Oh, no.
I just had this. This guy's premium doubled from like $5,500 to over $9,000. And he was like, this is ridiculous. I mean, got to do something. And I mean, he called me, and my first answer was, it's going to take me time. Give me a little bit of time. I got to research this. But thank God he called me, because we dove more deeply into the policy. And when the policy was half the price, sure, we kind of took the Rolls-Royce approach to putting everything on the policy. So once we dove into this, dissected his policy, we dropped that premium down to maybe 20% increase instead of 100% increase.
Wow.
Thank God the guy called me and said, let's review this. Because I got to tell you, I mean, even in my agency, we get busy. We don't see these things, or we get callous to them. You call us and say, hey, I want to review this. And I mean, this is what I do. We like to talk to people. We're salespeople. This is what we want to do. I want to talk to people. And I was happy to talk to my client and say, great, this makes sense. Let me look at this. And actually just wrote him this morning to say, we brought it down from over 9,000 to just about 6, I think.
Wow. So look at that. That's a great, so call Dion. Don't hang out. Just call Dion and make it happen. He'll take care of you. For high risk and coastal properties, what is the realistic cost of insurance now?
Surprisingly, some companies are very concerned about oceanfront, and yet there's not a lot that the ocean can do to a property that's probably going to be covered. If you're going to buy an oceanfront property, you need to buy flood insurance, and flood insurance can be pricey for it. There are companies, quite a few companies, that are not interested in insuring a coastal home, a home that is beachfront. But I got to tell you, it's nowhere near the concern that, let's say, being in a heavily wooded area would be. There's no fire risk being down on the beach, and our chances of having a problem down there are really, truly pretty low. And I think a lot of the companies know that. What you need to be thinking about, and what a lot of people don't think about, is why are they buying a property that's down on the coast? A lot of people are buying it so they can do a VRBO or an Airbnb, maybe, share it. It's going to be my second home for 9 months out of the year, but yeah, I might rent it out a few weekends, and that completely nullifies their policy unless it's disclosed. And a lot of my clients don't disclose it.
That's important to disclose and be prepared with insurance, right? Otherwise, I actually have another question for you.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the multi-unit or commercial market? Because now I'm getting into the market myself. I've got this building. I got another property. I'm in escrow that's got 11 units. This one's got 13 here in Scotts Valley. That one is more in a woodsy area. What homeowners should be asking you, like me, what I should ask you before I bought this building or the other property I'm buying that's unique? It's got 11 homes with 11 tenants on it. What should I be looking out for?
Contact a broker. Contact a broker beforehand and say, hey, can we talk about this? Possibly, can we meet out there and take a look at it? I mean, I set foot on your property. I saw that. You need to know the prior insurance company isn't going to keep insuring it. There's no guarantee, who used to insure the property where those 11 homes are, and they weren't willing to continue the insurance. They wouldn't move from the old owner to the new owner. So you need to reach out to a broker and say, we need to talk about this.
And I remember you came out right away. That's also, you should hire Dion. He comes even look at the homes and tell you what's going on, which is amazing.
Give it our best.
And what do you think we should be looking for, though? If the tenants and the code, what are the things that you looked for when you looked at that property, for example, or even this building? I think you looked at it before I bought it last year.
I mean, typically what you want to look at is, I think, I'm a landlord, you're a landlord. we lose track. We don't check the properties as often as we should. And the insurance companies don't come out, every month or every 6 months or every year to look at it either. So you've got to take a hard look at it, again, from the perspective that an insurance company would look at it. Is it cleaned up? I mean, have your tenants really started to throw trash outside? Or is there wood outside? Are they keeping firewood outside? Is there garbage out on their decks? Because the insurance companies are going to look at this. You've got to clean it up. And most of the companies, even with the companies that will insure pretty much any home, have started surcharges. If they come out and they see a nice clean house and everything's been taken care of, sure, your premium might be fairly low. But if you've got problems, broken windows, garbage, maybe, tarps on the roof, sure, they'll insure you, but suddenly the premium's going to double.
Ooh, so good. If you're a landlord, go check on your property, making sure you're maintaining it right, and you have good insurance. You won't lose it, you won't double. So that's a good point. Dion, thank you for coming today. Thank you for all those valuable information. Thank you guys for watching this video too. And if you have any questions, put in the comment below or simply call us. Mario DeSantis, 831-291-0511. Dion, what's your best phone number to reach you at?
Wow, you said that fast. My office number, 831-477-0916. Got a good staff. We've got a large staff. We'd be happy to help.
Thank you again, Dion. I got over here some olive oil from Italy, super fresh. You could have one too if you buy a mansion from me. No, just kidding. And we got some panettone here. It's the holiday season for you, Dion. Thank you again for making time. I know you're extremely busy. We appreciate you. And thank you for helping us and all our amazing clients.
Thank you. I appreciate it.